Hey guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and today is Thursday, September 27th, 2018. And I was going to look to see what episode this is. One moment. This would be episode 60. So, I'm going to try to squeeze this video in before I get interrupted, but I really wanted to, I've been doing some Dark October planning, and so I really wanted to try to record before October 1st. So, let's get to it. Before I dig into Dark October, I have a couple things to show you. So, I finished my birthday start, Sarah Cipher by The Good Housewife, and I stitched this on Picture This Plus Nocturne in 40 count, and I used all of the called for DMC except for what's coming across as black. It called for 3371, which I could not find mine. So I dug around in the bag that I was using and found Crescent Colors, I think it's Crescent Colors Black Coffee, and I just used that. So I love this. I love how it turned out. I'm thrilled with it. And so just for perspective, this will fit in a 5x7 frame. So it's not huge, it's pretty small. I took it to EGA on Tuesday night, and a friend of mine was like, I thought it was like big. Nope, it's tiny. So that's what happens on 40 count. But I'm really thrilled with how this came out. And I started on August 22nd for my birthday, and stitched on it and finished it up, I think, on the 24th of September. So super happy with that. So that was Monday. So I finished that. And then I started a new project, which is a secret stitch, but I'm showing it because nobody knows what it's for. So it's a secret, but not a secret. So this is also by Good Housewife. I was looking through my Good Housewife charts when I found Sarah Cipher, and found like 11 billion more that I want to stitch. So this one is called The Stitching House, and the colors are not showing up super accurate. That big branch is bark, so it's kind of a dark olivey green. I am making a little bit of adjustment in the colors, but not a ton. So I just got a little bitty start on this, and I think this is 40 count, vintage exemplar, light exemplar probably, but don't quote me on that. So I've been working on that since Monday when I finished Sarah Cipher. And I will put a picture of what that is going to look like here. Okay. So Dark October. So I started pulling out stuff for Dark October, posted on Instagram, and I was like, you know, who's doing their planning for Dark October? And Jessie Marie was like, I've been planning since November 1st, 2017. So that's the way to do it. And in the Stitchers Coven group on Facebook, yesterday, day before, maybe day before, Olivia B posted in there and was like, you know, I'm just gonna go hog wild for Dark October and just stitch all the things. And so we got like a huge thread going on, and some people are gonna do like a Dark October mania. Melanie from Soulful Stitching. I always mix up like what the second word is. I know it's soulful. She has an event in her group for Dark October Manic. And some people are doing, 13 in October and stitching on 13 different things. Some people are doing a mix of whips and new starts. And some people are, basically just doing all the stuff. So I started off with just a few pieces that I knew I wanted to work on. I'm going to kind of show you all of it though. So, yeah, so in no particular order. So this is in my Alice bag from Christine at Stitch All the Things, and I got smart like Emily and put a little tag on there. And you can see my tag is full because I always have like 12 projects in a bag. So in here I have Hollow Eden, which is by Plum Street Samplers. And I started this, I think I started this last year during Dark October. And I love this. I love that snake. He just makes me so happy. So this is an Adam and Eve piece, but obviously it's kind of a Halloween themed Adam and Eve piece. And this is on a piece of fabric that that my friend Sylvia dyed, but then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I may have then over dyed it with some pearl gray. And there's my test for Dark Beauty on the other side. So yeah, whatever. So I definitely want to stitch on Hollow Eden because I really love that piece. Also in this bag, which could also be a Dark October piece, is my moon phases that I am stitching on. I believe this is hand dyed by Stephanie, and I believe it's called Midnight Tryst. So it's a beautiful, gorgeous blue, kind of a midnight blue. And I started this for the solar eclipse with Carissa 2 years ago. I haven't gotten very far. I think hers is done. So I think that's everything in this bag. So definitely Hollow Eden, maybe moon phases. I should say that's all in this bag that's related to Dark October because there's other stuff in there. Okay. In my Sugar Skull bag that has complete with scissor jail. This is a piece that I started like 2 years ago with the first Dark October. Oh, and it was funny. So 2 years ago we started Dark October, Emily and I, and Facebook reminded me today that Emily and I have been friends on Facebook for 2 years. So happy anniversary, Emily. So I started this for Dark October. I'm trying to talk faster than my mouth is wanting to move. This is Many Jewel Scarabs by Dimples Designs, and I bought this kit when it was first released from the Silver Needle. I love this. This is very sort of Penny Dreadful, Cabinet of Curiosities, gothic-y, whatever to me, and I adore this. So there's some of the threads. It's got a bunch of Kreinik in there also. And unfortunately my start, I think this was like my Halloween night start, is not super exciting. That's it. That's all I got. And that is, it's all over one. You can see the sparkle. It's got some Kreinik in there. Yeah, that's it. It's this guy right here. So I might get this out and work on it. I don't know. I'm not feeling a huge pull to work on it, but now that I see it again, I'd really kind of like that, like framed and like in a shadow box. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, so that's it in this bag. So that's kind of on my maybe list. In here, which is a tote bag from my local needle workshop. This is Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, and I dyed this piece of fabric last year and started this. And I love, like I'd forgotten how much I love the fabric and how it turned out. So I just have a tiny little start on the border, but I love how this turned out. And it is a freaking ginormous piece of fabric. So if I show it to you the right way around, yeah, it's huge. But oh my God, I love how this turned out. And can we just talk about that Anubis fabric? Like Jessie Marie has shown it twice in her videos, like her last 2 videos, and oh my God, I need it. Just for the name, but also because it's gorgeous. But it reminds me of this fabric a little bit. So if anybody has Anubis fabric that they want to send me, feel free. I'll be happy to take it off your hands. Okay, and then in this bag, this is my Egyptian bag that I made like a million years ago. I had planned these 2 starts last year and I never started them. One of them is Plum Street Samplers Dead Man's Chess. That's a big chessboard with tombstones on it. And so part of the reason that I wanted to stitch this is because it has Susanna Martin on it, which is my ancestor. And so I dyed this piece of fabric, I over dyed this piece of fabric. This is actually a silk weaver fabric. It was originally 32 count beignet, and I over dyed it to give it a little more interest. So, after I dyed it, I realized I think that this thing is like completely stitched. Like I think it's full coverage, which I did not realize. So now I'm kind of like, why'd I bother to dye a piece of fabric? So that's kind of where I got uninspired. So anyway, and I was also going to start this piece, the Dark Alphabet. That was a freebie from In the Company of Friends forever ago. I think their website is now defunct, unfortunately. I was going to start this, but I could not find fabric in my stash for it. So, and I still don't have fabric for it. So, but it's still kind of on my radar that I'd really like to start this. But probably not this year, since I don't have fabric for it. Okay. And then this one, so this is in a project box that my friend Karen gave me. She keeps a lot of her stuff in these boxes, and I wasn't sure I was gonna like it, but I actually do. So this is Mirabilia's Halloween Fairy that came as a full kit. I thought it came with fabric too, but mine didn't. So so the fabric that I am using for this I was inspired by Annette from Annette's Acre. Hers is done on a dark purple fabric. I think it's French lilac, and it's gorgeous. And so I decided I wanted to do mine on kind of a dark purple fabric because I thought the oranges and the browns really popped. So I had this piece of 32 count Lugana silk weaver called Poltergeist, which was a very pale lavender. And I overdyed that. This was one of the pieces I overdyed last year. And I love how my fabric turned out. Like, love. I overdyed it with purple, and then I also overdyed it with pearl gray, or maybe black. I think it was pearl gray. And I just love how it turned out. And I love how my stitching is looking on that color fabric. It's just awesome. It just really pops, I think. And I'm not usually a purple person, but I love that. So I started this last year and completely became enamored with it. So here in my not so Nicole way, I can show you some of the colors and how pretty that's going to be against that purple. So I just think those greens are going to look so good, and that teal. So I started this last year, and I got sort of obsessed with it and didn't want to put it down. And I remembered that I was having my dark October kind of went off the rails last year, and I couldn't really remember why, but I looked back at my journal, and it was because I was having a lot of problems with my eyesight, and I was having a hard time seeing, which is probably why I was kind of drawn to this piece, because it's 32 count. But I very much enjoyed working on that, and I'm looking forward to working on that again this year. So this is a definite in my pile. In my Skull and Roses bag that Carissa made for me, I also put a tag on this one so that I know what's in here. And this is my Dracula book cover that is all wadded up. And I had a lot of fun stitching on this one too. I think I started this on Halloween night. And typically we watch Dracula Halloween night. That's my thing. So here's what the whole thing looks like. And I've got the tower, and I'm working on that bridge between the two buildings. So I love it. And that red is showing much brighter than it is. It's really more, that's better. It's more of a blood red. So, and that's a 40 count Gonder linen that I was gifted. But I had no idea what I was going to do with that fabric, and then lo and behold, it was like the perfect thing. So that's a definite. I want to work on Dracula. Also in this bag, I have, I started this last year. This is the Talking Board by Primitive Needle. And I've wanted to stitch this for years. And I wanted to start it so bad that I just grabbed fabric that was in my stash and I started it. And this was my like October the 13th, Friday the 13th start. And I think it actually goes like this. So not a very big start. And that needle minder was a gift. I hate this. I absolutely hate this fabric. It is just like, it's like that dirty Belfast khaki, some kind of crap. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So at some point this is going to get restarted. One of the things that I learned last year is that sometimes it's better to hold out and actually get the fabric and the supplies that you really want to do it in, rather than just grabbing what you have and starting it and then being unhappy with it. So yeah. And that's kind of where I was at, like when I first started on Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, I was kind of like, I don't know, but looking at it now, I love the fabric. But I looked at Talking Board again and I'm like, I hate that. Absolutely hate it. I had pulled this one last year to start. This is Moon Garden by Blackbird Designs. I have the fabric. I actually bought the fabric at the same time that I bought the chart. This is 18th Century Rook by R&R, 28 count. I did not start this last year because I have 0 of the called for colors, which seems amazing to me, but I didn't have the called for colors. Oh, it's Dirty Belfast, that's what it was. I didn't have the called for colors. I didn't want to substitute. I want to actually get the colors that it calls for. So this will be a future start at some point, probably. But I have it here with my Dark October stuff, so I thought I'd show it to you. We talked about the Talking Board. We talked about Dracula. I also have in here my Jack's Bash. I think that the fabric I was going to use for this, I stole to use for Three Things sampler. But now I'm kind of thinking I want different fabric for it, because I was just going to put it on that light exemplar because that's what I had, but now I'm kind of thinking I want like a hand-dyed fabric for it. So maybe it's okay that I didn't start it. So I definitely want to work on Dracula. That's a yes, yes. And now that Eric and I have been going through all of our DVDs and getting rid of like hundreds of them, now I can actually find my DVD of Dracula again. Okay. Luna Moth bag. And so in here, I have a couple of pieces that are, we'll say, Dark October-ish. So one of them is Salem Village, which I started recently. And I'm stitching this on Picture This Plus 40 count dapple. And I love it. Love it. So the last time I worked on it, I worked on that that angel up at the top, like the tombstone angel. So I'm definitely going to stitch on that. And the other piece that I have in here is Jinx. And I've been working on this on some of the Dark 13 stitching days. So, and this is just a fun little piece. And this is on 32 count Love Child, which was a gift from Christine. And I also have this little Lizzie Kate piece that I thought would be fun to make a little, you know, small bowl filler out of. But I kind of want to put it on some fun fabric. I'm not sure what that fun fabric is yet, so this one's in the I'm thinking about it pile. Oh, and here's a picture of Jinx. if you don't remember that one. So it's got the ladder and the black cat and the 13 and the umbrella in the house. So fun, by Raise the Roof. So, Jinx is a maybe. For Dark October, Salem Village is a yes. And then this is like the mother load. This is like where all of my Dark October projects go to die. Or to wait patiently for their turn. I love this bag so much. And the inside of it has those bird cages. All right, so what's in here? So in here, I have the Trick or Treat Halloween Fairy. Oh, my nose. Nora Corbett. So I started this, I think I started this 2 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sick of stitching 3371. And now that I think about it, this is probably where my 3371 is in this piece. So I was starting on her dress. This is a piece of Phantom by Silk Weaver, and it is not that red. It's more brown, rusty colored, but it's looking a little reddish pink, which it is not. So, but I love this color. It's like a first cousin to Anubis. And with that, so recently Eric and I went to a bead shop locally because I wanted to replace my gold delicas that I stole out of another chatelaine project to finish my Mystery 9 because I ran out of the gold delicas, so I wanted to replace those. And while I was there, I wanted to get the beads for this Halloween fairy, the Trick or Treat fairy. I decided that I wanted to replace the Mill Hills with delicas. And so I went online and found a Mill Hill to Delica conversion, and that's what I used. And I think there's 6 beads that it calls for, and I got 3 of them. 1 they were out of, and 2 of them I was just like, okay, I need to slow my roll. Because those gold delicas were like 11 bucks. Yeah. I mean, and this was like 7 bucks. But, so this is a kind of an orange color. Yeah, well, it's actually an orange color, not kind of an orange color. Orange, and then these are the larger size beads. So these are the size 8s. This is the size 11. And black and this sort of seafoamy green color. The other colors it calls for, it's like 2 that are kind of bluish purple, like an iris color, and then there's a red. So those are the ones I'm missing, but I think these are going to look really pretty on here. So, a little bit of haul. Like 40 bucks worth of haul, just for beads. Okay, so I have the Trick or Treat fairy. I do want to work on her. I don't think I worked on her at all last year, but I would like to work on her this year. And then I have, it's this one. So she was in a magazine many years ago, Cross Stitch and Needlework magazine, it looks like. And then I think Jessie Marie said that you can now get it from Hoffman as like a download. So, so I have her, and let's see what else I have in here. Okay, got it. So also in here, I have Blackened Sky. And I did work on this last year. In fact, last year I started block 2. And this is on the called for fabric. I think it's pear. I think it's Lakeside Pear, 40 count. And I am stitching it with the called for silks, the pure palette silks. And then it's got a couple of silken colors. So I love this so much. And Emily finished hers last year. Maybe it was earlier this year. I don't remember, but I love this. So I definitely want to spend time with it. Definitely, definitely. And I'm sure everybody knows what this looks like, but just in case you don't. So I'm working on this block. And the silks for it are just, they're really stunning. And so I'm really happy that I am using them. So here are some of them. These I haven't even used yet. They're so pretty. And I love the names of them. Whisper, Bailey's, Dry Martini, Saffron, Sedona Hills, August Moon, and here's some of the others. There's the silken colors, that bright green. The black is called Cauldron. Spanish Coffee is this beautiful brown, rich chocolatey brown. The green is called MD. So, and these are a delight to work with. So if you ever get the opportunity, if they're still making them, give those a shot. So, Blackened Sky. Then also in here, I have my casting a spell, cast your spells, cast something, casting a spell. And this is the one, the Blackbird Designs piece that is finished in that compartmented box with the glass lid. And so I started this, and I started it, I didn't have the called for colors. This is another lesson in futility. I didn't have the called for colors, so I did sort of my own conversion, and it was horrible. And then I saw another Blackbird piece that was being framed at my LNS called Raven Bewitched, I think. That's all like that old purple paint and like a cranberry color and black and grays. And I was like, oh, I love that color palette. So I reconfigured mine, ripped it out and restarted it. And I am loving these colors. I think it originally called for, and there's my moth needle minder. It originally called for tarnished gold, pumpkin pie, espresso bean, dark chocolate. And I was like, eh. So here's what, like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to use browns. I wanted to use blacks. And then when I started changing things, I think I just sort of went off the rails and I was not happy with it. And I couldn't really figure out like why I wasn't happy with it, but I'm much more happy with this color scheme. And so I'm using Garden Gate, which is kind of a grayish brown color. Wood Trail. Instead of using a straight black, I'm using a limited edition called Nightmare that I used in Jenny Bean Halloween. Currant and Old Purple paint. And I love how this is turning out, so I definitely want to work on this some more. Looking out the window, there's a car pulling up to my house and I don't know why. So that's a definite. And I am stitching this on a silk weaver fabric called Oyster in 32 count Lugana. And so it is sort of a grayish. So it's sort of a beigey gray. And it's pretty, there's really no modeling or anything in it. And that's one of the things that that I like about the Picture This Plus versus the Silk Weaver is that the Silk Weaver, for the most part, is not very modeled unless you're looking at a piece that's more like this, and then you get a lot more modeling to it. Okay, so these three are yeses. Especially now that I have my beads. Now I want to get to a spot where I can bead. And then the other piece, so my one start that I really want to have, I finally got my fabric in. So you may recall that a while back I was going to start, or maybe I didn't even talk about it, I was going to start that Black Cat Hollow by Barbara Anna with Tracy P and Trisha and Emily and I don't know who else. Andrea? No. Anyway, and so pretty much everybody started except me because I didn't have fabric, I didn't have a chart, I didn't have anything. But I have since rectified that. So I finally got my fabric in. When I went to order my fabric, I went to order it like right around my birthday. I figured, hey, birthday to me, I'm gonna order this fabric. So I go on 1, 2, 3 stitch, murky, 32 count. Nope. None to be had. And I was really upset because I was like, I'd been waiting to order it like for myself for my birthday. But yeah, so I just went over to Picture This Plus and ordered it straight from them. And so it took several weeks for it to come, but it did come. And it's here. And I love it so much. This is my first piece of murky I've ever had. And so I really dig it. And I think it's going to be really perfect for this piece. And then that's showing it. It's kind of looking green on the screen. It's not green. It's more of a beigey, like a black and tan mottled. It's not green, I don't think. But this color in here is a little... Ugh. And so I did get 32 count on the advice of Tracy. I was going to order 40 count because I'm a 40 count girl, but after all of the problems that I had stitching on that 40 count Gothic, was it Gothic? That was part of what led to me having so many problems with my eyes last October. So, and obviously it shrinks when it's being dyed which affects your ability to see it. So I decided, you know what, this is a small enough piece. I'm just going to do 32 count, and I think I will enjoy it much more than if I tried to do it on 40. So I went with 32 count. So thanks, Tracy. I still need to pull my threads for this, but I'm excited. And so I think like Emily finished part 1. I think Tracy finished part 1. So they may work on part 2 for Dark October, and I'll work on part 1. So, so then the only other thing is my Lady Jeanette bag. You haven't seen this in a while, have you? This is my neighborhood round robin. And I have not shown this in a long while because I haven't worked on it in a long while. I'm not totally sure if I'm going to work on it. Let me throw that out there. I'm kind of now at the point where I have a lot of other things that I want to add, but I'm sort of trying to chart it out so that I can figure out what I have room for, what I don't have room for. I really want to put in, you know, some other little odds and ends, like I want my pathway through the village. So I need to do planning before I can do stitching, which is why this kind of stalled out. But this is the last part that I stitched, was that tree, which I love. So my plan is that I want to work some more on charting on this, but whether or not I get to the stitching piece is questionable. And I have, these are all, you know, things that I want to add into it. And I have like my, you know, sad drawing of what I want to put where. So, yeah. I just need to figure out what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. So I think that's all that I have on my radar for Dark October. But of course, things can change at any point. And let me just look through my bag. So Hallow Eden, Black Cat Hollow, Casting a Spell, Halloween Fairy. Blacked Sky, Jinx, Salem Village, Dread Scarabs, Dracula Moon Garden, Talking Board, Halloween Fairy, Dead Man's Chess, Jack Splash, Dark Alphabet, Autumn One, Lazy Bear, Halloween Neighborhood, Wicked. I forgot about Wicked. That's a maybe also, but you know the little freebie that says Wicked on it, that's Primitive Needle. I've stitched it twice. I've yet to stitch it for myself, so I really wanted to stitch it for myself. It's all kitted up and ready to go with the silks. I just need to get it out and stitch it, so that was on my radar too, but I forgot to pull it. So those are kind of my plans for Dark October. I'm going to continue to work on the stitching house until then. And I haven't completely decided how I want to work on stuff. My plan last year was that I was going to do it like Mania, where I was going to work on everything like for 2 days. I may do that. I may plan it out, what I'm going to work on which days, or I may use the Tiny Decisions app and just roll the dice and see, or spin the wheel, I guess is the case. Spin the wheel and see what comes up and work on that. I may decide that I want to spend a whole week with a project. I haven't really decided, so you'll find out when I find out. but I'm just sort of kind of leaving it up in the air for right now. But now you've seen like my definitely what I want to work on and my possibly what I want to work on. And I think that's plenty to keep me busy. And I seriously and sincerely hope that I don't run into all the problems that I ran into last year, because I'd really, really like to enjoy my my dark October stitching. So yeah, I have one more thing I want to show you, so I'm going to pause and we'll go from there. Okay, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. The elephant in the room. Or, in this case, the dollhouse in the garage. I have not worked on the dollhouse since May of last year. There's just been so much going on, I just haven't had the chance. So my plan for Dark October is to also try to work on the dollhouse some. So just a reminder, this is a dollhouse that my grandmother built for me that I rescued out of my storage unit, and I am turning it into a haunted dollhouse. So it was originally painted white. It is now painted this kind of dark charcoal gray color with black trim. I restained all of the shingles to a darker stain. And then we put it on a new base, and I painted the base a lighter gray. So unfortunately I don't have really good light in here on this side, because we flipped it around so that I could get to the other side more easily. So this is the sad state of the inside. So it became a home for my paintbrushes and for the wall that needs to be put back in, and the window plexi that needs to be put back in, and all of the extra parts are in these boxes. So unfortunately, it's become a bit of a storage space, which I'm not super happy about, so I'm hoping to rectify that. So you can see that I have the staircases taped off, because those are the next things that I need to paint. And those are going a gloss black. And I have this railing here that was put in. There's another one that goes up here that I need to put in, but it's in pieces, so I have to reconstruct that. And we did paint the door. This is the front door, and it's also black. And this obviously needs to be reattached. So yeah. But my plan is, I figure now that it's cooler outside, I should be able to get out here in the garage, even though at the moment I'm sweating. I should be able to get out here and maybe work on this a little bit. So once I get the staircases painted and get that other railing put on and painted, my next step is I need to start working on the interior, because the exterior is basically done. So I started planning out my rooms and what I wanted to put where, so that I can start kind of thinking about flooring and wallpaper and ceilings and all that good stuff. I left all the trim on the inside white, because I figure I'll paint that depending on what the room ends up looking like. So I do have a ton of furniture that my grandmother gave me or made for me. Some of it I think that I can reuse, some of it probably not. So I was trying to determine if, with the slope of this roof, if I could put the bed up here or if it needed to go down here on the second floor. So I have this brass bed, and I think that could kind of work, although it's a little tight. But then I also have this wooden canopy, which is really what I wanted to use, which is obviously in pieces, so I only have part of it, but it is also tight. So I think I'm gonna have to move the bedroom down here, which is fine. I'm just gonna have to kind of refigure what I want to do. But this is probably gonna end up being the bedroom, this large room down here on the second floor. So I was sort of test fitting beds. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So, and I've been trying to do some research on lighting. Dollhouse lighting looks hard though. So I'll have to figure that out. But, yeah, so I had a couple people mention lately that they wondered how the dollhouse was coming, and the answer to that is it's not. But it will hopefully soon start to see some progress. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And let me know what your Dark October plans are. Bye.